Hey, Kevin here, top 100 financial advisor, two-time author, one-time bestseller, and we are here to talk about the stock market. I want to give you the easiest way. It is really the easiest way for you to become a millionaire using the stock market. Now, with every investing opportunity, with every investing platform or investment, there's going to be pros and cons. And you are immediately going to pick out the con here. So I want to explain it, tell you why it might not be that bad of a thing that you think, but also give you some ways around it and why it is the way it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen real quick, and we're gonna do some whiteboarding as we go through this little exercise. So this is from Carbon Finance. They are a really good Instagram account. I would suggest following. They have really cool graphics, and again, I've checked out the math, and it's very spot on. So step 1, open Roth IRA. Easy. I would do this, and I do have my IRA here at Fidelity. So you can do it at Fidelity, Charles Schwab. You cannot do it at Public yet. I don't think you can do it at Robinhood and other places. So one of the legacy places, the place you know of that got a lot of money, been around for a while, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, those are the places I would go. Invest $500 a month into an index fund. So this is something like ITOT, something like SPY, something like VTI. You could do that, and then you wait 40 years. That's it. $1.7 million. Super easy. That's it. And talk to you guys later. No, but that is it. It can be that simple. Now, your first thing is, I do not want to sit here and wait 40 years for me to become a millionaire. By the time I'm 40, I'll be old. By the time I'm 40, I'll be 70. How long can I enjoy my money if I have to sit here and wait 40 years? The good thing is you don't have to. You do not have to wait 40 years. There are a few ways around this. And I should have kept it on the whiteboard because I want to show you the cool thing about money, the cool thing about finance, the cool thing about math even, is you can move around the variables. So here's how money works. Here's how wealth works on the numerical part of things. So when we talk about these factors, we're talking about how much you're putting in, you're talking about the time, and then you're talking about interest rate. So what this really is time. I'm gonna do this in black. So we're talking about time, interest, or growth. So I'll just put growth rate, which is essentially what are you investing in? Are you investing in Bitcoin, which growth rate is ridiculous, or you're investing in bonds, which it's pretty boring. So you got time, you got growth rate, you got deposit. So what are you putting in? And that's what's going to give you wealth at the end of the day. These are the factors. This is it. If you got enough time, you can wait 40 years. So that's why I started my kids really early. So if I do nothing but index funds, by the time that my boy and girl will be 40, they'll be millionaires and they're going to be all right. Okay. Or I can say, I don't want to wait 40 years. Like, can I do it in 10? Can I do it in 5? Yeah, you can. But this growth rate has got to be crazy. Like, you can't do 7%, which is what the stock market is going to do on an average year. You can't do that. You have to get 10, 15, 20, something ridiculous, right? Or maybe you can't just do $500 a month. You're going to have to do 1,000, 10,000. You're going to have to put in so much money that you can reduce the time and have the same growth rate. So all of these factors you can change, except for time. Like, the time is going to be the time. I'm 31 years old. I ain't getting that time back. Now, if I took advantage of that time, I would invest in Apple and been a multimillionaire already. But guess what? I don't have that luxury. So now I have to deposit more. Now I have to consider something with a higher growth rate. So these are the factors that you can control, and that's what's going to determine wealth at the end of the day. So again, there's another thing I want to point out. That is, not only is it the easiest way to become a millionaire, the easiest way to build wealth, it's also one of the least risky, in that if I have something that's invested in S&P 500, I don't have to worry about being wrong about a particular company. And I'm going to get into this a bit later, but we think about Apple as being like the first $1 trillion company, and Microsoft being like this $1 trillion company that's been around for forever, and it grows so much. It's one of the best things you can put your money in. Yes, it's been true the last 20 or so years, but 20 years before that, it used to be ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil used to be the Apple. ExxonMobil used to be the world's most valuable company, the biggest market cap. It used to be the place to be. It ain't no mo. Now this year things are kind of changing, but we're 3 months into it. We're not even a whole 90 days into the year. Apple has been that spot. Microsoft has been that spot. Google, Amazon, Facebook, Netflix. That has been the place for you to be. That may not be the case in 20 or 30 years. We will see. These things tend to change. So if you say, I don't want to do none of that, I'm putting all my money in Tesla, I don't want to do none of that, I'm putting all my money in Bitcoin, and I can get there in not 40 years, maybe 5, you're taking a huge risk to do that. They don't make it good, don't make it bad. You just need to know that. Okay. So what I want to do is show you another way around it. What types of investments can get you there in X amount of years? So let me go back to the whiteboard real quick and detail that. As I'm doing this, go ahead and hit the share button like right now, because you already know we're sharing some good information. You want to make sure you're on our email list and all the things building bread. So hit the like button, hit the follow button, and hit the share button right now. All right, so I'm gonna scroll down. I drew out some things. Y'all know my handwriting ain't the best, but we're gonna work with it. All right, so 40 years, $500, you can get around 1.3, you can call it 1.7, since they've already done the math for us. You can do some index funds. I brought this one up earlier. You can do something like ITOT. You can do something like SPY. You can do something like, let me scroll over this way, VTI. I would not do them all because they all do the same thing. It doesn't make sense to have 3 of the exact same investments. Pick one. If you pull these up on the chart, you're going to see super, super small differences between the 3. Again, pick one. Doesn't matter which one. You do that for 40 years and you put $500 a month in, you should be a millionaire. Your chances of losing money are in my view extremely low, because the longer you invest, the lower that likelihood is. And you're doing it for 40 years, you're gonna be all right. It's just, are you starting early enough to where you can enjoy your life in 40 years, or are you starting this at like age 60 or 70 and you're gonna be 100? Not necessarily what you want to do, but there is still a way for you depending on where you are. So 40 years, $500 a month, yes, you can be a millionaire, but do you want to wait 40 years? That answer for some of us is no. So if we scroll down right here, you can get there in 15 years, or you would have gotten there, the right term, because we're using previous data, we cannot predict the future. You could have done this in 15 years on $500 a month, and you would have had $1.39 million if you had invested in something like Apple. This is what Apple did. Last 15 years, put $500 a month in a Roth IRA, which would have been perfect, but not everybody can qualify for a Roth IRA. But if you did, $1.39 million, boom, you're done. You would have done in 15 years what this person took close to 40 years to do. That ain't bad at all, right? But I'm taking on more risk. So the problem is now, will Apple return? I think it was like 40% or so average return, whatever it is. Is Apple going to do exactly what it did or better over the last 15 years that it's going to do over the next 15 years? None of us really know that. None of us really know that. But that's the downside. You're taking on more risk. I can say with more confidence that the market is going to give me around 7-8%. I know that because it's done it for almost 100 years. Apple ain't been around that long. So we have to hope that Apple does the same over the last 15 years as it did the next 15 years, or the other way around. We have to hope that the next 15 years is like the last, and that you can make that money, because you can get there a lot faster with $500. Next one, scroll down here. Well, what if I want to cut that down to 5? Same $500 a month, I want to cut it down to 5. I could have gotten $330,000, which is pretty good, in something like Tesla. This is what Tesla would have gotten you, and that wouldn't have been bad at all. Still not a million, but in 5 years I got 300,000. Really can't complain, right? So that would have helped me out a lot. And if I scroll down here, you zoom out a little bit. All right, 15 years. So we're doing the same things we did here. What if I did this for 15 years? I put in $500 a month. Where would I be? In this case, I'd have 105,000, and this is ExxonMobil. Not that impressive when you really do the math. We're talking $6,000 a year times 15 years. And I'm going to grab my calculator because I don't want to get these numbers wrong. when you record it and you get it wrong, people look at this years later like, oh my God, you're not good at this. So 15, actually let's do 600 times a year, right? 12, so that's 7,200 a year times 15. So that's 108,000 is what you would have put in. You actually would have lost money. So that's not going to help you at all, right? I'm sorry, it's 6,000. So 500 times 12, 6,000 times 15. So it's actually 90,000. So you would have put in 90,000, you would have made just a little bit at 105. So not impressive, right? But I mean, you got more out of it than what you put in, but 105,000 is what you would have had here. But again, we don't know what's going to be in the future. So you've got to pick, at least between these three, what do you think will happen in the future? Will ExxonMobil be as bad as it was the last 15 years? Maybe, maybe not. Will Tesla be as good the next 5, 10, 15 years as it has been the last 10? We don't know. We'll see. But these are the factors that you can change if you don't want to wait that 40 years. Also, don't forget, you could have also just said, look, I'm going to do these same things. I'm just going to invest more. Remember, your 401k, and you can have a Roth 401k if that is available, the option is available to you. So look, I don't have to do 500. I can do 1,000, right? You can put more. You can put more than $19,000 in your 401k. If you are age 50 or more, you get a catch-up contribution. So you can put even more after age 50. So it doesn't always have to be, well, let me go risk it with individual stocks. It could be, well, I can just put more in than $500 and you're going to be okay. But these are the factors that you can consider. If you don't want to wait the whole time, you don't want to wait 40 years, you don't want to wait 30 years, fine, you're just going to take on more risk. But lastly, and the last thing I want to emphasize is the time is going to pass anyway. I would prefer to say I have to wait 30 years, I'm going to wait 25 years, and become a millionaire and have financial security and have a 99% chance or 95% chance or even 90% chance. I'll wait 20 years for 95% chance of success rather than take a 10% chance of success of doing it in 10. Because that's what a lot of us are doing. We're not good. The majority of us are not good at picking individual stocks. We saw people buying GameStop at 400 and not doing all that well, right? You saw some great people who did it at 4 and were fine. We saw 2 weeks ago, market was crashing or felt like it was crashing. People sold, people panicked. They're not the ones that's going to make it for 40 years. They're not the ones that's going to make it for 20 years by picking individual stocks because you panicked back then. So how are you not going to panic for 20 years? Like, let's really be real about that. You saw what happened last year. How you acted last year is really going to determine whether or not the 30 or 40 year track is for you or the 10 or 15 track is for you. Think about those things, because to say I'm going to put my money in individual stocks, I'm going to risk more and put it in Apple or Nvidia or something like that. You certainly could do it, but you got to have the stomach for it. Remember, Tesla dropped up until very recently 25% in like 6 weeks. 6 weeks, a fourth of it gone just like that. And we love Tesla now, right? Because it was up 18% the other day. But are you going to be able to stomach that for the next 5 to 10 years? You gotta reconcile that within yourself. You gotta examine yourself and see what's going to fit best for you and which one of those tracks are best for you. All right, so make sure you share the video. Make sure you check out the Investors Toolkit because I want to teach you more about investing. I'll give you a secret now. We're changing a few things and adding some stuff to it. When we do, the prices will be different. So you want to make sure that you go ahead and get it now before those things change. If you've already registered, then you're going to be upgraded. So secret now, just letting you know, we're going to be rolling it out in the next month or so. So make sure that you go ahead and sign up. That's buildingbread.com/tools. Show you how to start investing, how to find out which investments are best for you specifically, and then help you to avoid the big costly mistakes. All right, so that's it for me. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.